I normally don't introduce anybody, so you're gonna introduce yourself.
Yes, I remember seeing the shows. Hey everyone, Rogue interview show. This is truly rogue because I wasn't even prepared to be in front of the camera.
Right?
It is rogue.
So I'm glad your other guest canceled, and I happen to be here, and we're doing this.
Absolutely.
My name is John Lin. I'm a urologist here in Gilbert, Arizona. I run Sunrise Urology. So
Woohoo.
Thank you for having me.
That's pretty interesting. Tell me. Well, I want to go back in time.
Sure.
Back in time when you were in high school. No, just kidding. No, what made you go into
Medical field.
I wanted to be a doctor, honestly. I went to military.
So, you know what, let's go back together because you and I reviewed some of your interviews before.
Okay.
You and I are very similar in that we're both immigrants.
Okay, yes.
So we both came to the States when we were younger.
Uh-huh.
And actually, we're both from divorced families, right?
Yeah.
You're from a divorced family as well, right? Yeah, so a lot of similarities. We struggle with language. I struggle with trying to fit in, being super awkward when I came to the States when I was 11 years old.
Oh, man.
Did you speak English coming here?
No, I did not speak English when I came to the States.
Where do you come from?
Instead of listening to the 80s music and learning the lyrics to learn English, I listened to, we immigrated to Los Angeles, so I listened to KNX News Radio. It's an AM radio station that is 24-hour news.
Wow.
Holy crap.
Talk about sadness.
Yeah, you were all depressed and
I know, like, oh my goodness, so many bad things are happening in the world.
Yeah, just like you, right? You learned all the bad words, curse words first.
Sure.
I did.
Yeah.
And then the military didn't help.
I did not do the military route.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, what am I doing?
So what brought you guys to Los Angeles then?
My whole family immigrated from Taiwan. Yeah,
oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Taiwan.
so the whole family. So it's very interesting in that when we immigrated from Taiwan, Taiwan was under martial law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of people have no idea how nice it is here to be in the U.S. to enjoy all the freedoms,
Thank you.
all the amendments. So first of all, I have to thank you for the military service. Every Veterans Day, every all these holidays honoring the military personnel. What a difference, right? From Vietnam era to how things are now.
Oh,
so
different. Huge.
I think the government propaganda machine is doing a very, very good job in getting the word out about the military now, how things are shaping up instead of how things were before. But anyway, thank you so much for your service.
Yes,
really
yes.
appreciate it.
Actually, as a veteran, like none of us know how to respond to that. I never respond to that. I just go like this.
You're welcome.
Because I don't know how to respond to it. Thank you. I mean, shit, it was my job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're just doing your job. Exactly.
Yes.
You don't think of yourself as a hero or anything like that.
No, you just do what you're supposed to do.
Well, one of the Facebook memes says that you want to, as a citizen, non-military person, you want to live a life that a military person could be proud of, that for which he fought, right?
Sure.
For that freedom
Absolutely.
to live in the best country, the greatest country in the world. It's interesting how you hear the celebrities,
Thank you. Because you and I come from another country. We know how ugly and horrible it's in our country.
You have no idea. And all these celebrities saying that they're going to leave the country.
Please do.
Right? When some president gets elected, has anyone left?
No.
Do you know of anyone who's left?
Right.
None. Nobody's ever done it.
Yeah,
because
bunch
they
of whiny
know how
babies.
good this is.
Exactly. For
That's
all
what I think they should take a vote and they say, okay, if someone wins, I'll leave. Put their info, and we'll just go and pick them up and give them a ride wherever they want to go.
We'll give you a ride.
Bye, Felicia. Because it's just talk. They don't know what's to be in another country and live there. When they go here, they go to Rocky Point and Cancun and the beautiful places.
Tourist attractions.
Like me going to Hong Kong. I was like, oh, this is China. No, it's not.
Not even close.
Yeah, I was there in Kowloon and all those islands around. And life is different. It's like,
yeah, those places, they want you to come back. So they want to put the best foot forward. But hey, let's talk about how I ended up here.
Yes.
I mean, how did I end up in front of this camera and then this podcast?
Right.
yeah, you gotta talk about that. You have to tell me the story.
So it's such serendipity. I follow this Facebook page called Donaldson Watches and Repair, and
Never heard of it.
they posted a grand opening for Ice for Life. With Ice for Life, Ice for Life.
Yes.
And so I said, "Oh, why are they posting Ice for Life?" Well, it turns out to be a cupcake place right close to them in the same plaza. So I clicked on Ice for Life, trying to figure out what this place is, and then I go through their timeline and I see this interview that Chelsea Mellor did, the owner, on the Rogue interview show. I'm thinking, what the heck's the Rogue interview show?
Yep.
I clicked on it, trying to figure it out. I still couldn't figure out what it was. I still don't know what the show is about.
You're here. You don't even know what the hell.
Yes.
I know, right?
But we're going to sharpen that mission statement.
Yes,
We'll
absolutely.
work on that
Yes,
because I like what you're doing, and we do similar things, except I do it more in the field, and then you have guests here.
Yes.
So I saw Rogue Interview Show. I started listening to your interviews, and I'm thinking, wow, this is really interesting. You're sharing stories of local entrepreneurs and their struggles, and so they can share their stories with other people. And you can very easily listen to this on, gosh, you're on all the podcasts on all the platforms.
Yeah.
So I just said that I go and do this in the field, and I also have a little studio kind of like this set up in the office. And sometimes I have a guest, and I struggled with audio, the sound, right? So I had to figure out how to set all this up, and the microphone, and then the mixing board, and how to make the video sound good. Why is that streaming right now in 360p and not 720p and all that stuff?
Right.
So anyway, I went through this a couple of years, the end of 2017, 2018, around the same time.
Yeah,
We started around the same time. And I listened to the podcast, and I listened to and watched the video, and I thought, I'm looking at these mics. These are nice AKG mics. Why is the sounds like all over the place?
Right.
So I reached out to you. I DM'd you and I said, hey, you know what? If you need some help, let me know, because I'm so empathetic to what you are going through. So anyway, that's how I ended up here.
Well, I think it's funny too, because we've always, from the very beginning, we wanted it to be like our youngest daughter. She did the logo, and then Jonah does the sound, and Eric always did a lot of the editing and stuff. And so we got bigger than our britches at first. Like we have all this great equipment, but we haven't. It's all been trial and error. Like we'll have people come on and be like, "We can't hear you." Okay, great. Like we're trying.
Well, now
Now
with
we're
Jonah
good.
at the
Now-
board, we've
right.
tuned the mics.
Yeah.
And I bet this is awesome right now for
I'm
the Facebook
sure.
audience. It's
I'm
going to
sure.
be super, super clean, super loud.
Yep. And our daughter Josia, she's in Texas. She just said, "Rabbit hole that is searching, Googling, and Facebook." That's exactly what I was going to say. When you were clicking and clicking, it's like that rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you're like, "Hey, this is great. This
That's
interview
exactly
show
right.
is there." But yeah.
So anyway, that's how I ended up here, because I wanted to help you bring the sound quality up. Because if
Absolutely.
it is a podcast,
Yeah.
you have to sound good.
Right.
And
absolutely.
you said that when you came, he wanted to help. He's like literally say, hey, let me help you. out with the
Everybody's
sound."
saying, "Sounds great. Sounds great."
Yeah, let me help you. See, that's
Yep.
Wait till you hear this.
that's-
because
Right.
this is
That's
gonna
what they're
sound-
saying, is that this sounds great already right
hey,
now.
that's the job of the dog to make me feel better.
And that's what's so funny. It's like, because now you've already said that you're a urologist and you have your practice, but it's so funny what drives us in our, I don't like to call it a hobby, because it's something that interests us and we want to
It's more
keep
passionate
talking.
Which is
than-
helping
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you want to
You're
help.
clearly passionate
I
about
mean,
it.
we are all trying to help people.
Absolutely.
This is why you do this, right? And I'm
Yeah.
doing the same thing, urology or doing the audio, coming over here to help you out.
Yeah.
It's helping people, and
Right.
and if you're grateful, if you enjoy doing this kind of stuff, like Jamie said, if you're passionate about doing this stuff, I mean, I love doing this stuff.
Absolutely.
And I understand. I'm so empathetic. Like I said, I'm so empathetic to what you're going through, because I went through it.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
painful.
what did you go through? What do you mean? Like you went through it, like, because you were bringing people in. What do you do your Facebook
He goes
lives
in
on?
the streets and grabs. Oh,
I know. I'm asking
sorry,
the guest.
My bad.
So if you
This
go
is
to
your
John
time.
Sealand MD or Facebook.com/JCLMD, you'll see a bunch of Facebook Lives. I mean, last Saturday, I was at the Honda dealership, right in the middle of the showroom. I did a Facebook Live with one of the car salespeople, trying to share things that are new in the car sales business, so that the audience who may want to buy a car can hear about something new that is happening.
Your urology practice audience might want to buy a car.
No,
or
actually,
just in fact,
that's my personal timeline. So I help a lot of brand accounts on
Okay.
Facebook, business accounts, and that I'm talking about my personal account.
okay. So on your personal account, with your copious amounts of spare time from your practice, you're also helping other people for their to be able to learn other things about other
Sure.
things other than urology, I guess.
Because you know
Bless you.
we are out and about, and if you have the desire like I do, and now that I have the know-how, I can't get enough people. I mean, I'm like, I want to interview you so that you can share your knowledge, what you
Sure.
know, with other people.
Absolutely.
You know, interesting guests and things like that.
That's what I was telling a lot of people too. A lot of Mexican people, or they don't speak the language right now. I said, dude, you got to make an effort. It has to be in you to learn the language. If you don't want to do it, you won't do it, and you're gonna stay with your little circle friend, and you're not gonna grow. But I have to break that mold, because my sisters actually, I was asking for help. Say, hey, can you talk to this guy and see if he's gonna give me a job? And she said, no, you do it yourself. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
terrified, because my level of how do you say it? The words just flew out of my head.
Your level of
Confidence.
Confidence.
It was gone. Like, I had confidence before I came to this country. I was 22 years old, so I was old when I came here. I doubled your age, right?
We're about the same age
No, but
right now. Yeah, but yeah, when you came to the States,
Yeah.
you're
I was
twice my
I was
age.
no fart.
You were already an old fart.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. My confidence was bad. I couldn't even talk to anybody.
Oh yeah,
Or
language
dance.
barrier. Language barrier is just. I mean, you can't even communicate with somebody. That's like the first interaction you have with somebody. And
So-
if you feel self-conscious about that, that's
I
really
wanna,
tough.
I have a question. This is just my
Go ahead.
Shoot
Fire
it.
away.
Like, oh shit, that's buckle. No, how do you go to, you're in school and you see private parts all day, but the first time that you saw one, you're like, damn. I mean,
You're
they're like 30 years ago, right?
So yeah, I finished medical school in 1997. They have the medical schools will have models or
okay.
people pay models who will show up, and then you practice a physical exam on this person, male and female.
Wow.
So other than my own, yeah, those are the
Right.
first
Hopefully,
sets.
yeah.
But now I have the honor of being able to say every day when guys who are coming into the office a little bit nervous, I have the privilege of saying, you know what, dude, I see more penises than a prostitute every single day.
Yeah.
So
I'm telling you.
it's okay. Just drop chow and
Yeah,
let me
just-
check out your junk.
Right. It's all old hat now to
Yeah,
me,
it's all
right?
hat.
Like I've
You
seen
know,
it all.
But
I'm
I'm
50.
but I'm also very empathetic, because these are folks. I perform a lot of vasectomies. These are folks who have never been examined in their adult lives.
Yeah.
So I'm.
And you're doing something, to their
Yes.
penis. You know what I mean? So
private.
already they're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm already coming in here. They're all worried anyway. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
I'm prodding and touching and
Poking
stuff like
and-
that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel bad for the guy maps in the military.
Oh, yeah.
The doctor, he got to go through everybody, dude.
I see some military guys who come
Yes.
through, and I'll joke with them. They'll wear their veteran hat or whatever. I'll just joke with them and say, okay, you know the drill. Assume the position.
That's funny.
That is
That's
funny.
Well, that's all you do. I mean, the military,
Do
man,
they?
they just kind of.
Yeah, you have like a 50,
Yeah,
100
50
guys
a
that
day that you have to
done.
get through.
But yeah, that was my question.
So you were gonna say something about you're 50 and
How? Oh yeah, I'm gonna be 52 and December 4th.
Oh my gosh.
Make
Next
sure you
week.
guys give me
2
presents,
weeks, I
please.
think.
Please, presents.
2 weeks from Thursday.
Yeah.
December 4th. All right.
Yeah.
December 4th, yeah. 52.
So I don't get my butthole examined anymore, right?
No, you can do
the
that with
prostate
blood.
check, right? There's not.
Why
They
would-
told me not to. They
No,
told me
you just do
blood.
you do the PSA he's talking about. They used to do the
The
internal
Okay.
exam, but
they
now
used
they
to
just
go
do
like
like
this
the.
before.
All right.
They're like,
Oh my
"Hey!"
goodness sakes!
All right, now we're going into clinical stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Clinical
All right.
mode.
There's been some controversy when it comes to prostate cancer screening in recent years. The United States Preventive Services Task Force a few years ago said, PSA, this prostate cancer screening is all bogus. So that led to a big decline in prostate cancer screening tests done, including PSA. But they revisited the most current recommendations are for African American men or men with family history of prostate cancer, screening should start at 40. 40.
40, not 50. 40.
So for everyone else, 55.
Yeah.
And the test is nothing but a blood test, a PSA, and a finger exam. It's called
have to.
Fancy phrase is digital rectal examination.
Exactly.
It's not digital,
DRE.
but it's digital. Here's
It's
the
digital.
digit.
It's not digital. Because these are digits. They're
That's funny.
phalanges or whatever they're
That's funny. My ass is squinting right now. He's like, oh, no, say no.
But you
no.
know,
and then it's after 55. But for people that have had polyps or stuff like that, they have to have more regular.
okay, that is colonoscopy. I don't go up that far. So here's the other, here's the other thing.
I just got a couple inches.
I got small fingers.
That's exactly right, Jamie. Some guys have come in and said, you know what? I looked you up online and I saw that you were Asian, so I knew your finger would be small.
Oh my
And
goodness.
that's
That
why,
is awesome.
you know, they jokingly say that.
Of
They
course,
jokingly
of
say
course.
that.
Because they're just trying to make
Come here,
light of
baby.
the situation too.
Ah!
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but he had to make it inappropriate, but whatever. I think, but here's
What are
my
you
thing.
talking about?
Wait,
This
hold
is
on. Here's
perfect.
my thing. I think it's good to have not just inappropriate conversations, but conversations in general, because men typically don't go to the doctor.
Correct.
And the more conversations and the joking and the laughing and the funny stuff that we can talk about it, and the more lighthearted conversations, we're going to save more men's lives, because they're going to go and get it done. Whether if they know, okay, maybe if it's just a blood exam, like.
But it has to be more. There's no movements about this type
Well,
of
there
cancer.
is.
No, there's no,
There's
no.
none.
Well,
Like
the
nobody.
problem is that most of the movements start with corporate America, and most corporate America is run by men, and men don't want to get tested, so it's very cyclical. It's like there's nobody that's forcing men other than wives, and no one listens to their wives. You know that. Like when you would go for a physical, I would tell you, oh, you're just going for a routine physical. And I would tell the doctor, oh, he's got a mole on his back. Oh, he's got this going on. And so he'd get in there and he'd be like, why are you checking me here? Well, because your wife said,
Yeah.
so you just have to.
And I hear that all the time from my patients, the couples who come in.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, vasectomy patients, I'll ask them, how did you find me? And he'll say, I have no idea because my wife set it all up. So women play a big role
Oh, for
in
sure.
the healthcare decisions and healthcare for men.
Right.
So
Well-
that's number one. And number two, a lot of times men they either don't want to remember, or they intentionally forget or unintentionally forget about their past medical conditions.
Right.
And nothing would show up on the history except when the wives are in the room.
Right.
They'll say, oh, you had that operation. Oh, you had that operation. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I did.
Right. They just subsequently, just forget all of these things. But I feel like the world is moving towards being aware and cognizant of your body and knowing what's going on with your body. And hopefully the movement will be there just as much as there is for, breast exams and annual exams. But just as many women forget about themselves and take care of their children before they take care of themselves. So
Yeah, and for a lot of men who are still working,
Yeah.
they don't want to take time off to
right.
come to the urologist.
Right.
or
They want to
get
take
it
time
checked
off
out.
for vacation. They don't want to
Yes.
take time off for their medical.
Yes.
Well, that
for their
makes
medical
sense
exam.
too.
Yeah.
You're so silly.
And like you said before, right? What's the most important thing in life? It's your health.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You both have gone through some health scares.
Yeah.
So you know that when it comes down to it, doesn't matter
You
doesn't
have
matter
to.
how much money you have.
Right.
If you don't have it, like my 87-year-old dad would say, if you don't have your health, nothing matters.
Yeah.
At his age, he's telling. And so I'm listening when my older patients come in and my dad's talking. I'm like taking notes
Yeah.
because I'll be there one day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
If you're lucky.
If you're
we
lucky.
are lucky.
Exactly.
For real, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
This people nowadays, jeez.
Yeah.
Riding my bicycle, I almost got run over.
Well, and we were sitting down here. I don't know, but we were watching the news with our 19-year-old and his girlfriend last night. And they're like, I don't know why we turned the news on. I think it was because it was right before the football game or something, right?
Yes,
Monday Night Football.
yes.
And so they're watching it, and they're like, there's another school shooting in California, and then there's one in Alabama, and then there's some girl that was kidnapped, but they found her in 8 hours, and it was all this stuff back to back to back to back. And they're like, is the world just getting terrible? And I said, know what's. I mean, the world isn't a great place, but it hasn't. It's not. I don't feel like it's getting worse. It's just it's more
It's been like
accessible
that.
to everybody to
Yes.
see it. You know what I mean? Like we have more people that have phones. When I was in high school in the 80s, early 90s, if we learned something, it was by our teacher or from our parents. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have the encyclopedia told us from shit that happened 20 years ago.
Yes.
Not from everything. We now have mainstream live information around the world. And so with that accessibility, of course it's going to look worse. You know what I mean? I mean, of course there are things that are worse. And we have issues with guns. We have issues with the climate. We have issues with blah, 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 blah. But the more accessibility of the news is what the problem is, I think. But
Bad things have been going on forever.
Forever.
It has always been there. The kidnappings, the shootings, and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
It's always been there. It's just that and now that it's instant, 24/7,
Yep.
and you hear it all the time. And
Yeah.
for the news, right? Why do they always keep showing that bad stuff? Because humans
Sales.
are sick.
Yeah.
Right? We want to. I mean, why is there rubbernecking?
oh my gosh,
Why
right.
is there rubbernecking?
Oh.
Because we're inherently curious
Yeah.
about things that happen to bad things that happen, and
Right.
that's what. So the bottom line is they want viewership. They want
Yeah.
they want to keep your attention.
Yeah.
Just like Facebook, Instagram,
Oh, social
YouTube. Their number one job is to keep the audience's attention.
Absolutely. And that's why I tell them all the time that we've had multiple electronic free vacations. We've had multiple times where, okay, we're shutting off the phones for the next couple of days. We're just going, because they just need to disconnect because I feel like we're trying to make them grow up faster. Like, let them still be kids. Let them still think that the world's okay right now, because they'll figure out life's hard enough later on in life.
Yeah, it's tough to have that balance because guess what? They're gonna grow up in an era of electronic
Yep.
Yeah.
everywhere, internet everywhere.
It's
So-
going to be worse with their kids.
Exactly. So for us as parents, I mean, we're holding on to our nostalgia. We're
Yeah.
holding on to how we grew up. But nowadays, this is their reality.
Yeah.
So for us, I know I'm kind of torn. Do I want to hold them back, or do I want to raise them the way I was raised? Right. So it's tough. We have it kind of tough because
Yeah.
the internet has changed everything.
Well, and the thing is too is we try also as parents when the kids are like, "Oh, we have to have our phones for school, or we have to have the." I'm like, "Sure, right," because I didn't get a 4.0 in high school with only having the encyclopedia. Like, come on now, you don't.
Yeah.
But we have to change just as much as they have to change. Like, we have to allow them,
Where
and
people
that's what,
evolves, and we have to evolve.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what
Technology
I
and
was-
society evolves.
Well, and that's what I was going to go to with the point when you said you were in the Honda dealership too, is it's kind of sidebar of that. But the greatest things have happened when two different minds were trying for something else to happen and something else created. Most medicines were created for something else.
Viagra.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that Viagra was for blood pressure, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of other things.
It's
like
still
even,
good.
Even
That's why I
stuff-
take it. My
like
chest.
even super glue, anything, like you could search it back to what they thought, or silly putty or anything like the slinky, all these things,
WD-40.
right? They
Yeah.
were all supposed to be something else because two other
accident.
minds got
Velcro.
together.
Velcro.
Exactly. All these things, that have changed the world when two minds got together to create something new. That's where we're going to start seeing new things happen. We're going to find cures to things that we didn't think we were going to otherwise find, or find bugs we didn't know actually existed, or whatever.
I have another question.
Yeah.
I'm full of questions.
Yeah.
You guys have full conversations. So I'm just listening.
Well, does the audience have any questions?
I know,
Or-
right? No, but they're all listening too. Everybody's thumbsing up and
So
thumbsing
you guys
up. I
more
know.
like talking all kinds of shit here.
You're so-
No, the question was. I actually
I'm
forgot
listening.
the question.
I'm not
I had
shocked,
the question in my head.
actually. I'm
This
not
is
shocked
how-
that you were talking
Are you
shit.
scatterbrained kind of like I am? Because
Yeah.
I'm like going to 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
And
think
then
of
I go
something.
like,
If,
yes,
if
and
I don't
then
act
what?
on it right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Son of a.
I have a lot of lists because if I don't write down my list, then I forget stuff too.
Yeah, I have a list. As a matter of fact, listening to your past interviews, I wrote down some things about you guys, so that
okay.
I can refresh my
Oh.
memory and stuff like that.
That's
So,
very cool.
Wow.
That's very cool.
That
It's so
is
funny.
cool.
Not a lot of people ask us questions or ask us like what we do or how
No,
we
because
do it.
most
we're
of them
always-
is
I
just
even
for
know how
them.
you guys met. I even so
It's
that's how I
for-
know about. So I have so much context.
Now, I was gonna ask you a question.
Really?
I forgot. I
You
fucking
just forgot it in those
I
20
for real.
seconds of
and I
us.
was like, whoa.
Okay, was it about work? Was it about
It
people?
was about his
family?
feel. It was his feel of.
Erections?
You
Viagra?
are just, he's
Erection,
seriously,
Viagra.
seriously,
So which one
loves
do you
the-
recommend, Viagra or the other one?
We can talk about
I am.
we can talk about prostates. We can talk
No,
about
no, no. Oh, yeah. The surgery on the
vasectomy.
vasectomy.
Oh yeah.
Is that? Do you go through one side or both sides?
Okay, so a little bit of background. When I first started doing vasectomies, I was not very good because
Oh, shit.
because
He did mine
no
20
because
years ago.
during training we did vasectomies with the patient under anesthesia, and in real life, the patients are awake. So
you just numb the shit.
to transition from being asleep to actually
That's
doing
a
this-
lot. That's
yeah
pressure.
so it's I think it's probably one of the most difficult things that we can do because my patient's not anesthetized, they're awake, and I'm doing an invasive procedure in
And
an
they're
area.
probably asking you questions all the time.
No,
wait,
no.
Wait, what are you doing? Wait.
I'm
I'm
see
do-
it. You have a blanket here.
I'm doing an invasive procedure on an area that we've worked our whole lives to protect.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So over the years, I became really, really good at doing them. I am not aware of anyone who performs more vasectomies in Arizona than me.
Nice.
So
Damn.
this year alone, I'll probably perform over 800 vasectomies.
Dang.
Wow.
And you asked about how I approach
Yeah,
vasectomies.
yeah. How do you? Because I have both. I was in the military, so the military did.
Don't hit your
So they made two incisions. So they made two punctures.
Correct.
Okay. Before we even go there, what is the biggest hurdle for men to come in? It's the scare, the anxiety, right?
Sure.
So there are ways to overcome that. Oral Valium is one of them.
Valium.
So you take that about an
Smart.
hour. You take it about an hour before if you want. I used to do that. Or the best way to go about it is laughing gas, nitrous oxide.
Oh my gosh.
I offer
That guy
nitrous
is funny.
oxide in the office. So that kind of completely eliminated all the barriers when it comes to vasectomies.
Wow, that is good. That's a great
Wow.
idea.
You walk in, you come in on the day of the procedure. They're lying down and they start the gas, and within seconds they're like their heart
Chill.
rate goes down.
Yeah,
they're nice and
they're
calm. Yeah, they're
That's a good
super
buzz.
comfortable.
That's awesome.
And to answer your question, finally, I do not use a scalpel. I make one tiny little poke, typically one poke in the middle of the scrotum after I numb it up, and through that one opening.
Everybody is it.
That's hurting right now. Like, oh, shit. Right in the middle. You
Right in
see where
the
the
middle.
shit meets right there?
But
Get it.
I numb you up first, so we're good. I
Right.
numb you up first, and then through that one opening, I can perform the procedure on both sides.
Wow.
Yeah, no scalpel, single puncture.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I'm-
Can I do it again just for shit and giggles?
No, I-
just,
Oh, no.
just to demonstrate.
Hey,
Do
no,
you
no, no,
see
no,
this right
no, no.
here?
It'll be live,
Live.
on Rose and
Look,
Lee
I
show.
will do it. I don't care.
I know you
And they
actually
burned.
probably.
Okay, what they did I remember?
Yeah.
Because I was laying down like this, and by accident that shit got hard, right? And I'm like this, and
By accident.
it goes like it started going up because. Okay,
I like how you have your arm up like this.
Yeah,
You're
this
super
captain came
descriptive.
in. She was gonna perform the surgery. She was new, and she was gonna perform this. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, it's a female.
Yeah,
Yes.
a female captain.
And then she
Got it.
ended
And I
up
was
having
like-
to be cute, you know
and
what
I
I
was
mean?
like,
It's like,
whoa! And then she started going, whoa. I'm like, stop! So they taped it. They're like, I was like, whoa!
across your chest, right? Yeah, okay.
No, not across my chest.
Well, that's what you're trying to. Your
Wait,
people
wait,
on
I
Facebook
was like,
Live.
you see that? My shoulders and everything. I was totally taped. I'm like, why? It doesn't go that far. Shit,
You
it
are
goes
so
underneath my
dumb.
belly button.
You are so dumb.
Barely.
I love it.
You
No,
are
but yeah, like they did it like that, and they burn it too.
Yeah, so I do 4 different things on each side to make sure the tubes don't reconnect.
Okay.
That's good. That's always a good thing.
That
Nothing,
is
nothing
good.
like acting like you're all crazy and stuff and not being safe. So
And that's next day they can go to work, right?
I tell my patients about 18, like day and a half. I'm sorry, day and a half. Yeah, rest for a day and a half. Just
Yeah.
ice. Take.
you probably
ibuprofen.
have a lot of people on Fridays.
Fridays are very popular, and because there's so much demand, this year, for the first time ever, we opened up 2 Saturdays just to accommodate the demand. It's just insane.
So
I think that-
men are going now willingly to do it. I don't
Well,
want to pay more child support.
I'm sure that, well, not only that, I'm sure wives are like, I'm done. It's your turn. I had the babies. You can do this part. But
Yeah, that's what I hear too. And
Yeah.
some couples do not want to have any children. So
yeah,
I
absolutely.
do get those too.
Well, even before?
Zero
Yeah.
children. Yes.
Oh, okay,
That's-
can
wait,
they do
hold
that?
up.
Because
Do
they
they
told
have
me
to
not
wait to a certain age or anything?
No.
to. No.
Age of consent.
That's,
Yeah, 18.
But here's the thing: that's not the way that it is with women. If you are of birthing age and you want to get your tubes tied, you have to like force people to listen to you. That's
Yeah.
sad.
That's dumb.
It's sad, and it's real that because
That's stupid.
people say you'll change your mind. Well, he'd change his mind too,
Yeah.
just like any other. But it's harder. But you know, patriarchal society. We're not going to get into
Yes.
that. But
Yes.
which I already did. But whatever. That's crazy though that they can just choose that.
Yep.
I find that to be very refreshing though, because I feel like I'm a huge proponent of somebody. It is your body. I don't care if I'm changing my mind later. If I change my mind later, I'll pay to have it fixed. Right? Like that's the way that it is. Like I hate when people tell me what I can and can't do with my body. That's just the way that I say it, and we'll end it with that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need anybody shutting us off because we get shut off sometimes on Facebook
Yeah,
when we start
sometimes,
being
yeah.
too political. Oh yes. Yeah. We've had where it won't post. We can still send it to podcast, but it won't post on Facebook.
Huh. Okay.
That's okay. I don't care. Like we'll still send it to podcast.
For me,
I mean,
it was just me.
I know
fucking trash.
it's funny, but it's no big deal.
I wasn't
But-
drunk. I was okay that night.
No, it was early on in the conversation because he's not a huge fan of certain political figures. And so if you say certain things, it can get pulled off of Facebook.
Interesting. Yeah.
Which freedom of speech is fine, but it's an app. We can still put it on. We can put it on podcasts. We just
Correct.
Facebook has the right to say what they can and what
Correct.
they don't want to. Okay, so tell me how you decide where you're going to go and pop up live for your interviews.
Totally serendipitous.
You just decide where you're going to go.
Yeah. So if I see something
Why didn't you go
interesting-
live right now? That would have been great. We
see.
simultaneously
I
live.
could. I
That was
could.
so crazy.
I
We
actually
should've-
have it in my car.
That's so crazy. That would have
did
been funny.
That did come,
We'll do that. Yeah, we could. It'd be funny. Like one day, wherever you go, we'll all pop up simultaneously. We're not trying to steal your mojo, but it'd be fun.
Oh
helping
my gosh,
each other.
there's so many people that you can bring to light, and they can share so many experiences that'll help other people.
I feel like a lot
And
of
that's
time.
what I do it too.
Well,
See?
if you go
I'm
back,
adding.
if you go to our very, very first podcast, it wasn't me, right? It was the
It was
kids.
the kids on the table.
So the reason it all started was because we have conversations like this, not taped, with our friends. Like today at work, this lady was talking about how her teenage daughters won't turn off their cell phones, and I'm like, they won't because you're the parent. Like
You pay
we
for it.
literally have a charging station in our phone in our home. That's where their phones go. And I say you just have to disengage them from it because otherwise they don't have that social structure. They don't have that. Hey, how are you doing today? Fine. You know, you have to force children sometimes. So
yeah.
that conversation could have been like those conversations that had kept happening with us or with other people is why we decided to have these low conversations and no pressure.
I have a hack on how to control or not control, but monitor or shape your kids' behaviors when it comes to electronics. If you control their Wi-Fi or their data access, you rule their world.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
So one, all your cell phone carriers have an add-on that you can purchase.
Yeah.
It's basically a VPN client that gets installed on their phones, and now you have access and you keep track of who they're texting, when, what they're accessing, is it social media, which social media sites, and you can pause their data
At all times.
remotely.
Exactly.
But what if they're at home? You have the ability to control
The
data,
Wi-Fi
Wi-Fi
password.
at home. Not just a Wi-Fi passport, but we use something called Disney Circle. It allows us to filter content and allows you to set how many hours they get. And if they take out the trash or do their chores, then okay, they have good behavior.
That's their
you get
that's
15
their
minutes.
allowance now. Is their data allowance?
Exactly. Then you get
awesome.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Or half an hour.
Absolutely.
So what
But
do
you
they
have
do
full
the rest
control.
of the day?
I'm sorry?
What do they do the rest of the day?
Well, read books.
Interact.
Read books and
Do
practice
something.
instruments or
yeah.
whatever.
Well, I was
Pick
saying,
up dog poop.
I know, right? Well, that's what I was
That's in the
saying too.
mornings.
I was said that it's funny when you first remove electronics from like vacations, right? We have electronic free
We
vacations.
have a bunch of
The
board
first
games.
6
I love board
hours,
games.
it's nonstop bickering because they're all mad at each other, but they're really they're mad at us because we took away their life, right? Oh, I'm so sad. I can't talk to whoever. But then it's never fails within like 4, 5, 6 hours. They're all playing board games. They're all saying,
Interacting.
what video games, what card games can we play? I Spy with my very eye.
Yeah.
On the road trips. It just is this hum of, you all like each other separated from the stupid social media.
Yeah.
Like you do love
You
each
adapt.
other. Yeah, you
You
adapt.
adapt.
Exactly. They'll figure it
You want
out.
to lift it? You can lift it here in the bottom if you want. Down.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
There you go.
There we go.
So we learned very early on with our kids that we have to allow them social media too, because that, like you said, we have to adapt as parents, but we also have to maintain it. Just like back in the day when my mom was like, "Oh, you can't go to your friend's house every single day." We have to be the same way with our social media or with our video games or whatever. Like you have to still monitor.
We have
It's
to be
just
adults.
a different type of monitoring.
Yeah, because like you said, no matter, so you can have all this tech, right? You can swipe right, but you know what? You still have to talk to the person.
Right.
You have to meet the person.
Absolutely.
So that's a
Social
great
skills.
So that's a great incentive to learn. You have to turn it off.
You have to talk to people.
Yeah.
You
This
do.
is
Like
a-
all
this
these
is a
people that are
world
like,
full
it's a
of people.
one-way conversation and they don't know how to reciprocate that. Like they don't, it's so funny. Like they'll post videos or they'll post whatever and then they watch all this stuff. But what if they don't know how to, like the one-on-one conversation? It's like so choppy.
They don't know how to act.
Yeah. Our kids are.
Well, you posted, I think you posted yesterday or today on your timeline, on the Rogue interview show timeline, not to worry about the metrics, the vanity metrics.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, it's hugely important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I also run a Facebook group called the Thriving Urology Practice Facebook group. It's not millions or tens of thousands of people, but I have a few hundred people who are really, really engaged.
Okay. Right.
So the amount of engagement is super high, but I don't have a huge audience.
Right.
But I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
You don't care. Like,
because
I don't care either.
yeah, you want, like, I mean, look at what happened with what Donaldson's watch repair posted, and then I met Chelsea, interviewed her, I learned about the Rogue, and then here I am,
Yes.
right? So
Some
you don't
of-
need. I mean, how big is this? Is not a huge platform.
No.
But look, I mean, look at what happened.
But
Look
and
at, we're
some
here.
of my closest favorite people are people that I've met through just connections for them show. Like people are like, "Oh, you need to talk to these people."
Yes,
or I was
we
part
have.
of. I'm part of this book that was published a couple months ago. There's just 10 stories of women that have each of us have a chapter of things that we went through. And I'm part of that book that's now public. You can buy it on Amazon. You know what I mean? Like from somebody who came on the show, who introduced us to somebody else on the show, and now we're part of that organization. So it's like the fact that they're impacting our lives and we're impacting more because of just of this, like you said, small platform.
So here I'm gonna encourage you now, because instead of behind the camera, because I've listened to the podcast, and I've listened to the I've watched the show, and I keep hearing this voice,
Right, in
and
the
I have
back.
no idea who that is. I didn't even know Jamie is her name.
Right.
So I would encourage you. So here's the other thing. Number one, you don't need to worry about vanity metrics. I don't care how many views or how many subscribers, how many likes. So that's one. And number two, you should not give a shit about what people think about you. Okay?
My thing is that
That
it's
is
not
very,
that it's not
because
that I
hang on,
care.
Jamie, listen to me. I got a zit right here. Okay, but I know everybody's got their zits.
Yeah.
All right, everybody's worried about their zits. Nobody cares about my zit.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna see it. I'm the only one who's gonna worry about it.
I just want to make sure that I'm real, and I feel like I don't.
You're being real right now.
But I'm not in front of the camera.
She's gonna be like,
No, I wouldn't be like that, but I would just be concerned that
What
I
you
wasn't
say, how
coming
you say it.
across, how I'm saying it. I feel like I'm an intelligent woman, and
But, okay,
but
wait.
I always start
why-
to.
Okay, why? Why do you worry, right? Why do you worry about other people? Why do you worry about
Because I'm
how
a
you
female
sound, how
and-
you come across?
Because I just feel like it's something.
What, men don't have egos and men don't want to come across
I feel
looking
like,
perfect?
but I know. But I just feel like early on in the starting of all this, there was harsh critics when I've only been in front of the camera once. And there was enough harsh critics where I was like, okay, I don't want this to be about somebody saying that. I want this to truly be about conversations having. And I just felt like I didn't want to
But you know
detract
what?
from that.
That's on the person making the comment.
I know.
I feel sad.
And it's so funny because I say that to everybody
I
else.
feel
like,
sad for that person who has to criticize you
Yeah.
for putting the effort and having the courage to be in front of the camera.
Well, and so many people do say that him and I have really good banter and we have a good, like we're able to play off of each other that way. But I also felt like it was, once we got set in this mode, we kind of stuck in this mode. But
that's okay. Next time you're going to have
No.
to, next time you're gonna, either you're in front of the camera or you're going to have to
No.
introduce that the person behind the camera
Right.
is Jamie, your wife.
yes.
Yeah.
So that,
Jenny
sure.
Balthazar in the back.
Well, what's funny is it's like the people that used to watch the show in the very beginning was just our close friends. So everybody knew it was me. But now we have over, 800 people that are following us and then whatever on podcast. I guess you're right. They don't know the story of who we are. And so we kind of have to branch out to that too.
Well, they have to listen to the other.
Well, some of those sound is shitty.
Oh my
right?
God. The microphone used to be in the back. We started with the microphone in the back.
And the very
and we
first
used to
one.
turn this way. Yeah, and I think.
And I didn't have my
Hi.
own microphone, so it was always you could hear me in the distance
Yeah, it
talking
was-
and
it was
laughing. And
horrible.
I do have a big voice, and I can.
You're loud, you mean?
Well, you
So that's
project
big
well. You
voice.
project well, and you're right in front of the
Yeah,
microphone.
and
So,
I laugh pretty loud.
yeah,
and-
but we got you tuned up. You got a nice soundboard, and we got the gain set and level set.
You
And
got all the
That's
square
right.
away.
so hopefully this sounds a lot better on podcast as well.
Absolutely.
You'll see it tomorrow. I'll post it tomorrow.
Great.
Right. Absolutely. What
So how many?
what a sweet surprise! Like to come home. I left work at 5:30, and I was like, "You said we didn't have a guest, and then but someone's coming over to listen to sound, and it just all was very kismet. It's a very sweet surprise. I like it.
Super meta.
Absolutely.
See, that was his idea. My idea was just like.
I just wanted to come over and fix your thing.
yeah.
And
For
he's
shit's
one-
sake, though, I'm going to tell you, when I walked in and I saw, and he's like, "No, you need to go over there," and I'm like, "Somebody's trying to fucking get me in front of this camera, and it's not going to happen." I was so antsy, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll record, but I don't want to
I
have
was
the
about to
camera on
walk
me."
in the back and just sit over there.
And I'd be like,
just talk.
No. No, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, if I can give, the advice is number one, don't worry about the vanity metrics, and number two, just get out there. Nobody cares about. I hate to say it, nobody cares about my zit,
No,
just
nobody
because
does. Nobody gives a shit.
everybody's got their own zits,
Yeah.
and we are thinking that, oh my gosh, everybody can see it, but when nobody cares,
Right.
we
have
all
to
have
say-
stuff going on in our lives, but
A lot.
But we, in front of the camera or in front of the microphone, we think everybody can see. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And those naysayers and people who make negative comments. I mean, I run 4 different YouTube channels, and I'm live all the time. You're gonna get people who crap on your videos and your content.
Right.
But you just can't let that bother you.
But you guys
I-
have
I-
matching eyebrows.
I feel sorry.
I
for
know,
those
for
people.
real. I'm trying to deflect,
We look
obviously.
alike. We
You guys
look
have
alike.
matching
We're pretty
well,
like
yeah,
that.
You're
Don't
super
be hating
pretty
on
like
us.
that. I'm not hating. How was that? You're weird. No, I was just deflecting.
Wait, so where do you grow up here? You were 11, so where do you end up?
You said
going?
LA, baby.
Huh?
Yeah,
I said
I
LA.
immigrated to
Oh,
LA.
LA.
Yeah, Los Angeles, and
Oh,
then
Los Angeles, okay.
and then UCLA undergrad, and then
The
I worked for
Bruins.
a while, and
Bruin?
then Bruin. I worked for a while, and then applied and got into medical school,
Oh,
and
okay.
the rest is history.
What brought you to Arizona, though?
Yeah.
Job opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How many years you been here?
since 2003.
Well, I would like to say
I
that's
hear
probably
we landed
true
at the
that
same time.
your
You and I-
urology typically 15 years ago, that's about 15, 18 years ago, nobody would go unless trauma or you were older. So this is definitely the community, like, because a lot of older
Oh
people
no.
retire.
A lot of women have bladder infections, incontinence,
I
and
feel like-
recurrent urinary tract infections, kidney stones. Women do get bladder
Do
cancer.
you think they send them out enough though? Like I feel like I agree with you 100% that if you have more than one UTI, you should go see a urologist because there's obviously a pattern, right? Like or something like that. But I feel like they just weren't sending. I didn't go to my very first urology appointment until I had my hysterectomy last year. Very first time, and I'm like, I feel like that should be something that
Yeah, it should be necessary. It should be on top of the
absolutely. It's
list.
like your
No, not really, unless you have.
urology health is important.
Well,
mean,
not
yeah,
not
you
not really.
Take
If
care of
you
the business.
well,
first.
if you have if you have erectile dysfunction, or if you have urinary difficulties, maybe due to an enlarged prostate, if you want a vasectomy, if you have a kidney stone, or if you have bladder cancer, blood in the urine, yes, you want to see a urologist. But otherwise, you don't really need to see a urologist.
Really?
Just see it. Yeah, just see a PCP, and then if necessary, then see a urologist.
Yes. But there you go.
Wow. That's-
Okay, that was like the little what's that called? PS. But I was
I
going
like
to say
that.
PSA.
It's a PSA, a public
but
service
but
announcement.
that's we would
Yeah.
that like full freaking circle because
Yeah.
we talked about PSA first and now we're PSA last. There
You
you
got
go.
it.
So PSA all the way
That's how
around.
we roll on this show. That's how we
Rogue.
Do. That's how we
That's
do
right.
it.
It was kismet. I'm telling you, it was kismet. It was a very sweet surprise, and we were very excited about it.
I know. I was like, I'm glad you're here because I was gonna fly solo, and
Well, thanks for having me.
I know.
Yeah, this is a
when I
nice
fly
surprise.
surprise.
when I fly solo, I don't behave myself.
Right. But so what's so funny is he never really flies solo because I'm always keeping him in line. But we just always say fly
Yeah,
solo
but it's flying solo
in
because
front of the camera.
I'm just
Yeah,
talking
for
to the
sure.
phone and looking at her and stuff like that. I was like, ugh.
Well, I think this is great what you're doing. I mean,
Oh,
this
thank you.
This setup is occupies your living space,
Absolutely.
and you were passionate about it. So I'm looking forward to hearing more content from you guys.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. And next time I'm gonna study this subject, and I'm gonna bring up questions because I really want to pick your brain. I really.
Oh, you're
Sure,
just not going to
sure.
talk about penises and balls.
I do want to talk about
I know you do. Like I can see it on the tip of your tongue. You're like,
cock and balls.
cock and balls.
So we're gonna work on your messaging. Number one,
Yes.
your branding.
Yeah, we
What
have
is
to do that.
in 3 seconds? Like, what is the show about? So number one, and number two, when you open up the show, you have to hook the audience within
Yeah.
the first 3 seconds. You're going to talk about balls today, or you're going to talk about vasectomies, or you're going to talk about how a business failed and then survived. So you throw that out there right away, and then you go into
Perfect.
introductions.
Yep.
And then you have to introduce the person behind, because for a new person listening to the show, watching this, they have no idea who Jamie is.
True.
And then you do that consistently every
You
single.
should come in the front and kind of smile and then back.
Negative ghost
You can, yeah, you can.
Right? Hey,
Yeah.
it's me. I'm in the background.
And then you just hop into the shot, and then you
Negative ghost rider.
and then
We'll
you, and
see.
you run back.
That's
Baby
a great
steps.
idea.
Baby
You know what,
steps.
Jamie? This is only broadcasting in 360p, not even HD. So you're good.
Negative ghost rider. Baby steps. We'll see.
All right.
Maybe.
Baby steps. Well, thank you so much for being on the Rogue. I think again we're gonna go into part 2 someday.
All right.
He's available.
Absolutely.
He's a busy guy.
Very
Serious,
busy guy.
He's busy. I'm so glad we got him tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on the Rogue Interview Show. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.